Hi, I watched Three Color Fantasy and here's my review. Three Color Fantasy is a Korean drama of 2017 and it's a trilogy of 6 episodes each of 30 minutes. The first story is called The Universe's Star, the second story is called Romance Full of Life, and the third one is called Queen of the Ring. I watched this drama in 2018 and I reviewed it for the purpose of making this review today. I didn't give a rating for the full drama, I just concentrated in giving a rating to each episode, but if I was to make an average, it would give a rating almost 9 out of 10. Okay, let's start with the first story, The Universe's Stars, who tells the story of Pyeol, a young girl who dies one day in an accident as she goes to the concert of her favorite singer and becomes a Grim Reaper. Later, many years later, she learns that this singer that she likes, Hooky, that is actually played by Suho from EXO, is going to die very soon, and she takes it upon herself to try and save his life. So this drama, I gave it 9 out of 10 stars the first time, and I still gave it 9 out of 10 stars the second time I watched it. I love almost everything in this drama. Her character is actually really cute, but she's not stupid either. It's not because she's cute that she's stupid. She's actually quite intelligent, and I really love that she tries so hard to save him. It's understandable as a fan myself, who has been also a fan for many years, it's understandable this feeling of wanting to help the person you like this much. Some could argue, and that's actually why I didn't give 10 out of 10 for this story, is that her actions seem quite stalkerish, because since she wants to prevent him to die, she kind of follows him everywhere, and I think sometimes she's going a bit too overboard. But as you know what happened to her and why she's doing it, as a watcher, it's okay. But when you take it from his point of view, he starts falling for her, but it's a bit like he's falling for a stalker, you know? A crazy fan. So that's the point I took, because it's a bit weird. But otherwise, I really like the story. I think it's a beautiful story. The OST is beautiful, honestly. Since the first time I've watched it, I still listen to the OST this day. It's really nice. Also, it's a detail, but I really like what they did with the name of the drama, The Universe's Star, with Hooju, Universe, being the main character, and Pyeol, her, being the star. I like it. Honestly, at the end of the day, their relationship is so pure and so cute, and tiny little spoil that isn't really a major spoil, just a detail. There's, how do you call it? A cute nose kiss at some point, but really cute. Like, you don't see these kind of cute kisses very often. Okay, and here, tiny spoil part though, I cried buckets. I think everyone who've watched it must have at least cried a tear, just a single one, at least one. I think it's impossible not to cry in front of this drama. So yeah, spoil part over. For the second story, we have Romance Full of Life. Romance Full of Life tells the story of In-sung, a guy who's been trying to enter the police academy for 4 years and has failed 8 times. But thanks to his positive mindset and way of thinking and living, he doesn't get too discouraged and always go back and try, and just doesn't get too discouraged. But one day when he's at his lowest, because it happens to all of us, when this happens, he participates in a medical experiment for money. Thing is, when he comes out of this experiment of 2 days, he realizes that he's slowly gaining powers. This drama, I only gave it 7.5 for this watch, and actually on my first watch I gave it 7. So it's a bit of an upgrade, but I think it's the weaker of the 3 stories, but it doesn't mean it's bad either. Honestly, the drama in itself is quite enjoyable, it's It's easy to watch, it's not difficult to understand, and it's actually nice to follow In Song in this kind of adventure and this growth. Because when he starts the story, he's kind of the dorky, happy guy. Then when he gains power, you know, he starts to gain confidence in himself, and sometimes not very good kind of confidence. So it's actually very interesting to follow him through that, because I actually think it's how most people would become if they suddenly gain powers. So it's really enjoyable to watch, but the story actually doesn't give that much. Although the idea is nice, though not original, I give you that, because medical experimentation has been done a lot and it often gives people powers or things like that. So it's not original, but I really like it, so it doesn't really bother me. The problem is the story kind of stay too, I wouldn't say normal, but it stays very too classic to a K-drama. I don't know, it's like there's this guy with this girl and it doesn't go well, and then they try to make it better, and there's a second guy who wants to be with the girl, and there is a second girl who wants to be with the main guy, and in the end it's the main couple, and I don't know, it's very classic. I just feel like they could have done something more original with it, so that's why I can't give it more, because I wouldn't say I was bored, but I was not too into the story either, I would say, compared to the other two, that's for sure. That's why I couldn't give it more. However, there's someone, and it's not a cameo, but it's the best friend of In Song, when we actually see him a lot, who's played by Kang Gi-young. So that's really nice. This guy is extra and as perfect as always. So it's a good addition to the drama, and I actually preferred a lot more In Song's interactions with his best friend rather than with his love interest. And the last story is Queen of the Ring, who tells the story of Nani, who finds herself ugly and is perceived as such by kind of everyone around her in society, be it friends or acquaintances, people she doesn't know. She's considered ugly. So she suffered of this throughout her entire life, and she has no confidence in her looks as well. One day she gets a ring from her mother that will allow the guy who puts the ring on her finger to see her as his ideal type. So she will take the look of his ideal type. First time I watched this drama, I gave it 8 out of 10 stars. This time I actually gave it 10 out of 10. Why? First, the actors. I love the actors in it. Kim Seol-gi and An Yo-sop. I love them, and I think they really did a good job in this drama too. I almost gave it 9.5 out of 10, just because it's a shame in a sense where Kim Seol-gi isn't ugly. I don't like to use this term, but she's not pretty. Maybe she's not in the standard of the perfect beauty in Korea, because she has a very round face, she is small, she's more the kind of cute beauty. So I almost gave it 9.5 because of that. Because when you watch it, you're like, but she's pretty. It's weird, you know? But I thought it would be a bit petty to do that, because I really enjoyed it so much, and I think I could actually rewatch it, and I would recommend everyone to watch it too, because I really enjoyed it a lot. So maybe I was a bit biased because of the casting, because I really like both of them, but I think I also understood the message of the story more this time, because I can't think of why I would have given it only 8 before and I would give it 10 this time. I think I got the message a lot better this time, and I actually really like it. When I checked the comments online for this drama, I was a bit surprised, because I feel like the message didn't reach some people, and actually a lot of people. And I'm going to go in a spoil part, especially to talk about the messages. So a lot of complaint I read about people having for this drama is that the message isn't that good. It promotes basing your judgment on looks only, and Hypocrisy also, I read one comment about this, or that the message isn't very clear because it's not very well executed. But in my opinion, after watching it a second time, I think it's actually pretty cleverly done. So first, the hypocrisy part comes for Nani, because Nani she doesn't like the way she looks. She's been kind of abused because of how she's not considered pretty, but she still wants to have a handsome boyfriend. But I think that's actually like a lot of us people. I think everyone would like to have someone they find very handsome or very pretty. Yes, you could see it at double standard, wanting to be loved for who you are and how you look, but also wanting someone handsome. But I think it's still very much how we're stuck in this problem, every one of us nowadays, because so much of everything is based on look. It's even more present year after year, in my opinion. So sure, it can be hypocrite and kind of a double standard, but I think it's something very common nowadays, and you can't really single her out for this, because it actually really shows a mindset that most of us have today. And then I'm only going to talk about Segun because it's actually him who gets the more growth in the drama. So Segun is this guy who only dates really pretty girls and never too long. So first, a lot of people really didn't like his personality in like the first or second episode, and actually it was the same for me. But that's where it starts. It's his starting point before he realizes what's wrong with him, because at this point he only thinks the problem why he can't get a long-lasting girlfriend is because he hasn't found the prettiest one. So it's a bit caricatural, you know, but they want to make a point come across. So is this guy completely clueless who doesn't understand? He's like, she's pretty, but I can't like her more than a month. And then, this girl is prettier, but it's the same. And every time he tries again and again. That's what he tells Nani at the end. He just couldn't find it. And with Nani, he actually understood what was the problem. He had to also look at the personality, what's inside of the person. So yes, he starts in this place where he's like superficial guy, arrogant because he's good looking and thinks he has to only go out with good looking people and nothing else. And he actually disregards Nani too, like he doesn't pay any attention to her, even just platonically, as a friend. Which actually changes later on. I wouldn't say they actually become friends, but they sure get closer. I think that's actually one of the first signs that he's actually getting to like her just a little, even platonically, because he wouldn't even spare her a look at first, because she was not pretty. But now, he can kind of do that. Even though, as I said, I wouldn't consider them friends, but it's progress. Then, and I think that's very telling, and I don't know how anyone could miss the point of the message at this moment, is when he learns that Nani doesn't have the looks he has been thinking she has. When he realizes it, he's a bit distressed, of course, I think anyone would be, but he's a bit distressed and he's wondering, but who do I like then? And of course she goes, well, you like the other girl, she's your ideal type. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense. And he goes to the other girl. And while doing things he used to do with Nani, or while wanting to do things he used to do with her, that he enjoyed too, he realizes that she is nothing like the Nani he knew. And that's how he starts realizing that beauty, the exterior, the appearance, doesn't make everything. Sure, he's with the pretty girl, but he's not enjoying himself at all. He doesn't like this person. And so it goes back to Nani, realizing that it was Nani that he liked. Same at the end, when she asks him to put the ring on her finger one last time to see a pretty woman. He actually sees her, because while she was not her ideal type, as he grew to like her more and more and more, she also grew more and more and more attractive in his eyes. And that's actually something fairly common that happens to people, that happens to me too. I want to give an example. I don't meet too many people, but if I take the Drama Land, for example, sometimes you have a guy and he's like very handsome. I'm like, oh wow, you're really good looking, you know. But then this guy turns out to be the est person on earth, like really, he's really a bad person, really mean. This guy becomes really ugly, like physically ugly. I look at him and I think, you're so ugly. It just physically, his face, it's like, it's almost disgusts me. Like, I'm like, you're so ugly. And sometimes, if it goes back to being kind of nice again, I'm like, actually, you're not that bad, you're really good looking. It's because personality in the end plays a very important role. You can be the prettiest person on earth. If you're the meanest, most annoying person on earth inside, then physically, to the eyes of people, you become this way. I'm pretty sure most of you, if not every one of you, will get what I'm trying to say. So that's what they wanted to do with this drama. They wanted to show that, and I think they actually did a really good job. And also they added this little thing at the end. The ring breaks and makes everyone enter this space of not judging people by their looks, and everyone finds themselves pretty. So I think it's actually a very, very positive message. It actually gives a critique of the society and how we all think and how we are even pushed to think this way, because I don't think it's something that came just naturally. It's also pushed by publicity and companies and everything to judge by beauty. So they kind of make a critique of that and tell us how it's bad, but at the same time they remind us that we're kind of stuck in it. Like Nanhi, we don't like it, we hate it, we wish it would be different, but it isn't, and we know we're also stuck in this kind of thing. And they show us, well, they give a glimpse of how it would be if things were not this way. And I actually really like this message. One could think it's like kind of utopist. And yeah, I think it's kind of true, but it's still a very powerful and important message, I think. So that's why I don't understand how, when I read the comments, so many people could have missed it, because it's just so clear to me what the message is. Okay, I think that's it for this drama. I rambled long enough, but I think I took it kind of upon myself and kind of personally when I saw so many bad comments about it, and especially about the message. I don't know, it triggered my defensive code, and I was like, I need to explain. I need to explain the drama so people can understand it. I enjoy it. So I don't know if it will reach really anyone or if it will make people want to watch it, but I hope it will. So overall, if I take the 3 stories, I gave the drama a better rating this time than I did the first time. And I would absolutely recommend it, especially Queen of the Ring, because yeah, I really like this one, and now that I've given it a 10 out of 10, it's just going to remain in my little heart. Because that's to say, when I gave it 8, I couldn't even remember what the story was about when I rewatched it. The only one I actually remembered from the first time was My Universe Star, because it kind of made an impression on me, and the OST is so good that it was kind of an unforgettable story. But now I think I'm not going to forget about Queen of the Ring either. So yeah, watch it if you haven't seen it. I don't think it would be a waste of time. I mean, it's only 6 episodes of 30 minutes, so it's like 3 hours per story, so it's really nothing. If you've watched it, what did you think? Did you like it? Did you not? Which was your favorite? For now, that's it for me, and see you in the next video. Bye bye!